One summer day, I found myself in a rural Chinese village, helping a man I just met get a chicken drunk. It's moments like this that you have to ask yourself, how did I get here? So, taking that back a little bit to the beginning of my Peace Corps experience in China, I was a volunteer working as a university English teacher in a town called Bijie in Guizhou, China. And when I first arrived in China, all of my students were very excited to meet me. And it was hard. I mean, I taught over 500 students in 2 years. And then sometimes it was hard to get to know them on an individual basis. But one student really stands out to me, and her name was Wing. All of my students got to choose an English name as English majors. And Wing had selected her name because she thought that it was uplifting. She wanted to soar into the heavens. And her personality definitely fit that. Wing was probably 4'7" tall. She always had a smile on her face, bright rosy red cheeks, and she always wore a jean jacket. When I first met Wing, she was very shy. She was an English major, but her English language ability wasn't all that great. But over time, she practiced. She would come to my office hours every day to talk to me, to listen to what I had to say, and to practice. I served as a volunteer with my wife, and we would have Wing over for dinner. She would cook. She would go to the market with us. And we really developed a close relationship with Wing. And so once Wing started to come out of her shell a little bit, she would invite us to visit her hometown. She will say, "I will invite you to my hometown." But we were college professors. We were very, very busy. We always had things going on, and it kept getting pushed off. So finally, summer vacation rolls around, and Wing came to us and said, "I will invite you to my hometown." And finally we said, yes. So we went with Wing to the bus station, and we got on a bus. It's not necessarily the bus we were expecting. It was much shorter than the buses that drove in the city. It had a few seats, but to make room for more passengers, it also had some small wooden stools. There was also a noticeable hole in the floor so we could see the road go by as we drove. So we boarded the bus, but we had to wait for the bus to fill up. So more and more people got on. People got on carrying vegetables. People got on carrying chickens. And once the bus got full, we were off. And it didn't take long for us driving to have the road disappear. And pretty soon we were driving at a 45-degree angle on a dirt road on the side of a mountain. After a couple of hours of this, we finally made it to our destination, a place where two of these dirt roads crossed. And we looked up out of the bus to see some small cottages lining a terrace farm mountain. It was beautiful. So we get out. We walk up the dirt road, and the first people that we see are Wing's parents, her mother and her father. And they have the same broad smile that Wing always wears on her face. And they showed us everything in the village. So they had, for years, lived in stone buildings with dirt floors and tile roofs. But they had recently just built a brand new house. It was brick with a cement floor, and it also had electricity, so they had a television, which was a big change for their family. They showed us the school that they worked next to. The front part of their house was a small store where they sold items to children. They also farmed a small plot on the side of the mountain. So after our short tour, that brings us to the chicken. When I walked into town, the chicken was tied to a pole. And I looked at Wing and I asked, "Is that your pet chicken?" And she smiled and said, "No." So her father comes over and kneels down, grabs tight to the chicken, and produces a flask of baijiu, which is Chinese grain alcohol, and gives the chicken 1 gulp, 2 gulps, 3 gulps. And then he smiles, sets the chicken down, and gives a little push. The chicken staggers to one side and staggers to the other. And the dad looks at me and said, "It is ready." So they handed off the chicken quickly dispatched the chicken and handed off to the mom to prepare. And then we went and made jiaozi, hundreds of tiny dumplings, all by hand. It's just as much a social experience as it is a culinary experience. And it was really in that moment, as I was sitting in Wing's brand new house, rolling jiaozi with her family, that I really felt like I had seen the real China, that I had been accepted into a community in a way that I hadn't living in a bigger city on a university campus. And the best part of the story is we got to have the best chicken soup I've ever had in my life.